Hello and welcome to the Empowered Hormone Podcast, where we pull apart all those taboo topics: periods, parasites, poos, hormones and more. Let's question everything you've been taught about your body. I'm your host, Sheradyn Dekker, a gin-loving gut health nerd passionate about debunking myths on birth control, period pain and IBS. If you struggle with bloating or your period is less than pretty, then join me as we chat about everything relating to gut and hormone health. Hello and welcome to another episode of the Empowered Hormones Podcast. It's the end of the year. I can't believe it's nearing the end of 2023. Well, I'm like, where has this year gone? I feel like we all say that, but now I'm especially saying that. Where has this year gone? So this episode I'm recording on the 22nd, so you guys should get it on the 27th. So it'll be your last episode of the year. This is 146, which also blows my mind that somehow we've managed to get through that many podcasts this year. So if you've listened along for this long, thank you. And I guess I just want to reflect on what a year it's been. There's so much that's happened in business, in health, in personal life. I don't know, I come to the end of every year and I just go, wow, did all that really happen? And I guess what really triggered this for me, and not in a bad trigger, but just really that whole thought process, was on Wednesday we had Gemma Hanley. So Gemma comes into the Root Cause program and she does mindset work with us once a month, which is amazing because what happens in the one-on-one calls or in the group calls with women is I can only do so much, right? So I get really stuck in that sciencey headspace where I'm like, right, this could be done, where are we at, what's going on with your supplements, what's going on with nutrition. And same with the group calls, like I'm very like, okay, I don't have the space in those calls to start unpacking those broader concepts around, well, why are we struggling so much, and why do we have recurring hormonal issues, and why are we so stressed, and how is this masculine energy and feminine energy playing into things, and how are we going to heal long term beyond the gut and hormone stuff, because this is really, really important. I was talking about this with Shell the other day, one of my clients, but also she has an awesome Instagram page I tag a lot as well. So that whole concept of healing is such a multifaceted approach. So yes, you've got to do the gut stuff, and yes, you've got to do the hormone stuff, but yes, you also need to do the breath work and the mindset work and the journaling, because without those elements, even if we know them, where's the implementation of them? And in Gem's session, she was like, right, we're doing 2023, a year review. And we went through some of the biggest challenges we'd had that year, and also kind of looking forward what things we wanted to leave behind in 2023 and what things we wanted to carry forward into 2024. So what qualities, what traits, what things, and then also what are your words that you want to carry into 2024, and what's the theme of your year going to look like? And for me, I really wanted to acknowledge, I guess awareness was a big one for me. So being aware of how I was feeling, and then also respecting that as well, and going, hey, I'm really hurt by what happened, or, an event with somebody, or someone set boundaries and they really hurt me. Being aware in that, recognizing that, and then respecting that as well, and go, okay, well, why? Like, what is this triggering? What is this unpacking? So that's something I want to move forward into 2024 and go, okay, can I be aware of how I'm feeling, and then can I also respect that and start to understand that and unpack the whys on that as well? Because that was something that was a big thing for me this year, was starting to unpack. And I feel like it's a catchword at the moment. Everyone's talking about narcissism, about boundaries, about, stepping into your own sort of space and creating space for yourself and self-love and all those things, which is great. Like, I think it's awesome that this stuff is more coming to the forefront of the way we approach our relationships, and understanding that there's so much work that needs to be put into them, and understanding how and why we react to people the way we do, or why we attach to people the way we do, or why we struggle to detach from someone as well. And like for me personally this year, that's been a big one, because I am such an attachment person, and I am a real empathetic person. I'm a real sensitive person. I'm a real healer in a sense. So I reach out to those people who need healing, and then I get quite caught up in these cycles of trying to help when they're not in a space to do the work themselves. So that's been a lot to learn this year, but talking about it with Jem inside the Root Cause program and chatting to the women and going, okay, what do we want to bring forward, and what did our year look like? Because sometimes we forget how much has actually happened in a year, like whether it's from health stuff, whether it's from business stuff, whether it's from personal, whether it's investment and you bought a house, which some of the women did, or whether it's growth in your strength and your training, those kinds of things. There's so many different areas that we can reflect on and go, yeah, a year goes fast, but also look at all the things we did in a year. Like, this is crazy. When I reflect back on the business for this year, I can go, wow, the Root Cause program has grown significantly in the sense that it provides so much support for the women coming into it, from their messenger support and group support and the coaches we've brought on to help them. It's a program I'm really, really proud of, and to reflect back on the last 12 months and how much it's grown and changed, it's kind of like, oh, wow, look at this. The other things is, like, I did more live events again this year. I did some more workshops, more outreach, a lot more online events. I also launched the 6 days, 6 ways to heal your gut. So the gut health solutions, I did a live round of that, which was awesome. We had over 50 women sign up for that, which for me was just phenomenal. And it's something I want to bring into the new year and be like, cool, Gut Health Solutions is always available. All the tips, the tricks, the everything in there, the videos, everything is so helpful, and you will use it again and again and again. So for your $97, you're getting so much value. When I do it live, that's super fun as well, because then you get women jumping in and we're asking more questions. It's a really, really great program, and I'm really proud of it, and I've put a lot of work and time into it. I guess other things I've really focused on this year, like I said, is people pleasing, trying to set better boundaries, doing the work in a sense. So there's that book called How to Do the Work by Dr. Nicole Lapira. She's a holistic psychologist, who goes under Instagram as the holistic psychologist, and just unpacking again those words around ego, inner child, triggers, behavioral traits, those kinds of things has been a really big one for me this year. And I see it in a lot of clients as well. And who I am as a person shows up in the way I coach the women inside my program. It also shows up in the value I give to people. So if I, for example, fell pregnant, then there would be more of a pregnancy approach to some of my work, because I am my business and I am my program. So what I'm feeling or experiencing, you guys are getting secondhand. You see that with Instagram. If I'm having a really hard week or a really hard day, I'm either not very consistent on there because I just don't have the energy to show up, or I'm open, I'm honest, I'm like, I'm struggling. I couldn't get out of bed this week. Like, I'm exhausted. But then on the flip side, if I'm feeling really great, my training's going really well, that shows up on my Instagram as well. That shows up in our group calls. That shows up in the way the women ask questions around those things. So it's really interesting to go, okay, I need to do the work, because that secondhand effect comes down to you guys as well, which, like, I love, but it's also scary, because it's like, oh, I'm influencing these people's lives, I'm helping and I'm supporting them, but I also am offering them value. And what kind of value am I giving them, and what am I basing that off? And as I'm talking, I'm looking over at my bookshelf at all the books I love and the way they have influenced me. So one's like, The Fifth Vital Sign by Lisa Hendricks Jacks, and Beyond the Pill by Jolene Bryden, Fiber Fueled, that was a big one for me. And then things like The Barefoot Investor and Profit First and She's on the Money, all my Sarah Wilson stuff, my I Quit Sugar stuff, even the Sort Your Money Out one. Like, there's just like books that have really, really helped me from a business point of view, from a practitioner point of view. I've just bought Super Gut, which I love, by Dr. William Davis. And then, the How to Do Your Work ones, the Carry On Warriors by Glennon Doyle's, the Healing Through Words by Rupi Kaur, I'm probably saying that wrong. these are books that are influencing me, and I love that. Like, I love that growing and that expansion, and I'm excited to bring that into next year as well. The other thing I've really focused on this year is understanding how much I'm addicted to stimulation and stress. So to the moving, to the constant go, go, go. I had a hard breakup this year, and part of, for me, healing when I've been hurting is to not stop and to not sit in the hard thing. Sitting in the hard stuff and sitting with your feelings and just, as they say, feel your feelings is really painful, and that overwhelming sense of loneliness sometimes, or not always having to fill a space. And I think that's been a big one for me this year, is to go, hey Sheradyn, you're actually riding your bike a lot, going to the gym a lot, working a lot, taking photos a lot, at the beach a lot, traveling a lot. When are you just sitting with how you're feeling and journaling and recognizing all the other things that are going on in your life? So art therapy was a big one that helped with that, because I do get sick of sitting and writing because I sit all day at a desk. So I love cutting and getting Bunnings magazines and Coles magazines and cutting things out and stickering them on, and just picking out words and picking out expressions and picking out things that really resonate with me at that time. And that's been really helpful and healing for me. And there was also a lady on Instagram that I was sharing for a while back who did a lot of cool art therapy stuff. If you ask me on Instagram, I'll be able to share it to her, but I don't know the name off the top of my head. So those things have been really important for me this year, business-wise, self-development-wise, and then health-wise. I had two really, really hard low points this year. One, when I got back from Japan, so that was actually mid-February. I struggled big time, like mental health-wise. I was like, I'm not coping and I'm not okay. And it was a really hard little patch that I went through. And it wasn't even, some people are like, is that post-holiday blues? But it wasn't actually that. I think it was, again, it was that busyness. I'd come out of Christmas, January, so people moving around, doing stuff, working. The lead up to Japan, I worked so hard because I was so worried about taking like a week and a half, 2 weeks off work, which as a small business is really scary because there's no backfill, right? Like, it's all on you. So I think the pressure up to Japan, and then I took a bit of time off, and then coming home and seeing the build up of work as well, just like, it was just felt like too much. I was super overwhelmed. And there's that really nice area for me where if I don't have enough to do, I don't get anything done. If I've got too much to do, I don't do anything either. So it's like that nice like point in the middle where you're like, okay, I've got enough pressure on me that I'm going to do the things, but not too much that I'm like, I can't breathe. Like I can't breathe. So that was really hard as well. And then also later on in the year when I just launched way too many things at once, and just the burnout, getting like from 5 a.m. I'd wake up, I'd check my DMs, I'd respond to stuff, I'd reply to emails, I might go to the gym or for a ride, and then I'd work all day and then get out for a little bit and then work again till like 9 p.m. at night. And it was just really, it was too much, and my body went, this is too much. And I was like, no, I'll be fine. I was not fine. My period was late. My skin flared up so much. My boobs hurt. My energy dropped. Like, it was a direct impact on my health. And I was like, oh, okay. This is when I'm doing too much. So I think it's really important to recognize that if you are someone who's prone to taking on too much, not giving yourself enough space, over exercising, or if your eating patterns drop, like for me, that's not something, like I'm very conscious now of making sure I eat enough carbs, enough food, not under eating. But I see it in clients when they get really busy, they eat less and then their blood sugars whack all around, and then they feel really crap. It then impacts their sleeping, impacts your relationships, your mood, your energies, everything else. So if you're finding that you're going through that burnout and your labs are showing like a low cortisol picture, like, or super high cortisol because you're in go, 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 which is incidentally also going to impact your hormones. if you're kind of struggling with that anxiety, irregular periods, or hypothyroidism symptoms, so we start to see these kind of things show up in our lab work, which does, like I said, impacts your thyroid, impacts your adrenal glands, impacts your sex hormones. It will also impact your digestion and your gut health. So if you are struggling with a burnout phase or a really high stress phase, there are some things that you can definitely do. So blood sugar balance, protein, carbs, fat at every meal is critical. Add your adrenal cocktail in, or at least your minerals. So your trace mineral drops, or lately I've been using the Aussie mineral drops, are really awesome as well. Your fish oil supplements to dampen some inflammation. So 2 to 4 grams a day of that is super helpful. Nutrients you are low in. So check your iron, your zinc, your selenium, your Vit D. Get everything into scratch or up to scratch and into range, because that's going to help you so much. Now, burnout is going to look different for everyone. Usually you go through a high stress period where you're trying to dampen, like use your adaptogens and your withania and things to dampen that cortisol response so that you sleep better and so you feel better during the day. You then need to support your body with nutrients, food, dietary wise, all those things to ensure that you can get everything into range and stop yourself crashing. Because like I said, you go from this high state down to this burnt out low state. And if you're in that too far in that burnt out low state, that's when we see chronic fatigue syndrome or fibromyalgia, all those really quote unquote severe kind of issues, rather than, like for me, it was just like a week or so of just feeling exhausted, period was horrible, all those things. And I was like, right, something's got to change it up, and my next cycle is going to be way better. So it's not letting yourself get too far in, like recognizing it, and then going back to like what I said earlier, add in that breath work, add in somatic therapies, add in supportive things that are going to help you, like journaling, help you unwind and help you just be. Because as Gemma would say, we are human beings, okay? So we do need space to just be, so that you can reflect on things that are happening, process them properly, feel what you're feeling, and then move on from there. So I hope that was helpful. It has been a huge year this year, and I'm really grateful to anyone who's followed along, who's worked with me, who is working with me, who's done one of my programs, who listens to the podcast, who's reached out on Instagram. All those things mean the world to me, and I'm so grateful for you all and your support, because small business is really hard and I could not do it without you guys. So thank you so much. I can't wait to see what 2024 brings. I've got lots of exciting stuff planned, and I'm going to spend next week mapping a lot of that out, doing a lot of back-end stuff on the business, which I'm super excited about, and just sort of make a plan moving forward so that I can be a better practitioner, I can educate and empower more women, and I can support people better, because I think that's my thing, is always going, how can I do what I'm doing better, and how can I help more women? Because the amount of women I guess have contact with on a day-to-day basis who are struggling and don't know where to go just says to me there's millions out there who need some sort of starting point. And whether that's a book, whether that's a course, or whether that's someone to go, hey, this, birth control pill is affecting your mental health, or taking antibiotics is destroying your gut, whether it's just a small starting point, we all need to start somewhere. So please reach out if you have any questions. You can follow me along on Instagram, Sheradyn_functional nutrition. You can join my Facebook group, Gut Health Solutions, and post questions in there. There's lots of tips and tricks and things that show up. You can jump on my website, SheradynDekker.com. Any way you like, please reach out. I love hearing from you, and I will see you in 2024. Thank you for listening to another episode of the Empowered Hormone Podcast. If you know a female who needs some empowerment, please forward, repost, tag or share, and let's get women talking.